What is going on, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, cats and dogs? You are listening to another episode of the Hardcore Geek Podcast. And as always, I'm your boy Ryan, aka Mr. Showtime. And calling in again on the bat phone, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Joe Dub. Joe, what's going on, my friend?
Yo, what it do? Hopefully I don't get a call on this bat phone, that's like crime.
Commissioner Gordon will be beeping in. We trying to do a podcast.
Right.
It's just what happens. Oh, bro, how you doing, man?
Park, wait.
I know, right?
I'm good. Usual, just, hanging out in the lair.
The lair. What would your if you had your own bat cave, what would be in your bat cave?
A pool table with the big bat symbol in the middle, with DC and Marvel inspired pool balls, different pool cues and everything like that. A nice 50, 60-inch flat screen TV, a little bar area, for the drinkers and stuff. Just like an open floor plan, so you can have the side where people could be talking and be at the bar, have the pool table, and you got the people who could be watching TV. And then even like a separate TV maybe off to the side that can be just like the gaming TV too, so if somebody wants to be gaming, but let's say it's the Super Bowl and then the Super Bowl on, so something like that. What about you?
I got you. Okay. So no bat pole, or I love your idea of the bat cave. I don't know what I would have for my bat cave. I think it would just be I think I'd want to have more of like a Stark Tower, a whole bunch of random robots doing shit for me, and a bar. But I don't drink, so it would have a bunch of Sprite.
I would also have to find I would have to have a custom shadow boxes for a million of Funko Pops I collect.
Yes! Oh my god. I need to... You have probably, in my opinion, one of the most epic collection of Funko Pops. I know you just tagged me in a few other ones. You show me you got the new Rocket Raccoon. You got the new Star-Lord. And then you got Gwenpool. I didn't even know if that was one that existed.
It just came out. Gwenpool they released 3. You have the regular one, which you can get at GameStop or pretty much anywhere where it's just Gwenpool with the mask on.
Yeah.
You have the unmasked Gwenpool, where she got the fluffy hair and everything. That's Walgreens exclusive, which I'm thinking about getting because it's already worth $25 right now, and it's only a $10 pop. And then you have the one I have, which is the exclusive for Toys R Us. She's holding a gun in one hand and then her cell phone in the other.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I travel for that one on lunch. Still made it back in time, so.
Was that the one you had to drive, all the way out to, if you're familiar with the Cleveland area?
Elyria.
Yeah, you drive out to Elyria. That's crazy. Yeah, I was sitting at...
got that, and I got the Star-Lord, too, there, because I'm like, well, I guess I gotta make the deal sweet instead of just going out for one. So, they had 4 Star-Lords. I was like, psh.
Absolutely.
And it was on sale for $7.99. I'm like, let's go.
And it's always places like Walgreens and just like a random drugstore where you'll find the real good pops. It's not always you go to GameStop or you go to Target and you find some. It's because I find when I go to Target I always find the same pops. They have like an overstock of the Batman Surfer Batman from the 60s. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, yes I do.
It's like they don't have the ones I want.
Yeah, Target. It really just depends on the location. I got a few Target exclusives. Actually, thinking about it, I have 5. I have 4 Batman ones, which just came out. What was it? December, January. The Golden Midas, the Negative Batman, the Glow in the Dark one, which I can't think of the name, and then the North Pole Batman, which all of them are cool. The original plan was just to get the Golden Midas one because the Gold Batman looked real sweet. But at the time, they were worth like 30 and 40, and I'm like, I found them on BrickSeeker. For all our listeners, BrickSeeker.com. Great place if you have the DPCI, aka the SKU, for whatever product you're looking for like Target or Walmart. You can pop that in, and it'll actually show real-time stock. So I was able to find DPCI on Reddit, in some Funko places, and I found where it was at. They were actually local in Medina, so I went there first before I got the kids from daycare, and it took like a half hour because the Golden Midas, all of them had flaws, and I kind of had to figure out which flaw was less than the other one. So I finally was able to find one, and I was going to get more, but then they dropped. Their value dropped, so I left it alone and just got the 4. And then the 5th one is Roddy Piper, rest in peace.
Yes.
And yeah, that's really it. I haven't Walgreens are the toughest ones to get from what I'm hearing. I actually have 2 I need to get. Shawn Michaels and Kane just came out, and Kane is already worth 40. I'm like, okay, I need to get these before they sell out, and I'll be pissed because I'm only collecting the classic wrestlers for the pops. I don't want to do everything because it'd be a little bit too much.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. I'm in the process of trying to complete my Power Rangers movie collection. I got the Blue Ranger. Just picked up Black. They have them all at GameStop, but you can't find Rita. Rita is the one you can't find for some reason.
You better go to GameStop at Ridge Park. That's where I seen Rita.
Oh, really? I'm gonna have to pop in there then.
Yeah.
Literally. See?
That's where I got Rocket from, because I went in there not looking for anybody specific. I'm just like, I'll go in here and see. And I seen the Gwenpool. She was the normal one, but I'm like, I don't want just the regular one. I'm trying to kind of stick with just the exclusives for now.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for me to buy all 3, of course. So I was like, I'll just go and get the Toys R Us one. And then I seen Rocket, and I'm like, you know what? Rocket is my favorite. I'll get him. He got a sticker. I'll get him. So I got him, and then that's when I looked and seen that Star-Lord had an exclusive, and I was like, well, guess I'll get Star-Lord.
There you go. All right, man. Well, eventually we got to get like a video or some pics of your epic collection, because I think some of the listeners definitely want to see that. Speaking of our listeners, I want to thank you guys. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I could definitely do that. I actually rearranged the best today, and I put them all next to each other, so it's literally a wall of pops. Like, I'll take a picture and send to you tomorrow.
There you go, man. We'll throw it up on the Instagram there for sure. Speaking of our social media, guys, if you want to check us out each and every week, check us out right here on Spreaker.com. We're going to be live every Wednesday. It's Spreaker.com/show/hardcore-geek. Our past episodes are on our of course, on iTunes and pretty much anywhere else you can find your favorite podcast. There, just type in the words "hardcore geek" and we are there. But honestly, the best place to find all of our stuff is our website. It's hardcoregeekcast.com. And there'll be links to our Facebook, our Twitter, and all that fun stuff, including the Instagram, which is right on the front. So eventually you'll see Joe's epic collection of pop vinyls, and we encourage you guys to send us, some of your guys' collection. That's some of the stuff we like, some nostalgia. Speaking of nostalgia, we are comic book fans, obviously. I grew up watching the X-Men television show, okay? And even before the television show came out, my mom got me a VHS of the X-Men pilot. Have you ever seen that, where it's called Pride of the X-Men? Have you seen that?
You know what? I've heard of it, but I have not had the opportunity of seeing it.
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. But I remember this was basically like the pilot. Think of like the animation style of like G.I. Joe, but it was X-Men back in the 80s. and I fell in love with it. And so, I had, there was one Christmas where, mind you, I was an only child, so my mom one year got me all of the X-Men Toy Biz, like every action figure, which I'm kicking myself. I wish I still had them because they're probably worth money. So I've always been an X-Men fan. I know you've been an X-Men fan. In fact, I remember you, myself, Little Peacemaker, I think Jay and a couple other people, the night before my the 2 nights before I got married, when we went to go see Days of Future Past,
Yes, indeed.
So X-Men, very, very, very soft spot in the heart right there. You and I took the opportunity to go see Logan opening night, basically the night before opening night. And I want to, definitely talk about Logan. Before we get into like spoilers, we'll give everybody, a warning before we go into spoilers, because we don't want you, we don't want to be that guy. We don't want to be those guys who ruin the whole thing for you. But, bro, seriously, are you over this movie yet? Because I'm not.
No, it hasn't not really since Civil War, I should say, that or Deadpool for that matter. Well, you know what? We'll say Deadpool, because Civil War we expect it to be good. You know what I mean? We expect it to be phenomenal. Captain America movie. I mean, Winter Soldier was phenomenal, right? So why wouldn't Civil War even top that? So I would compare it to Deadpool, where you don't really know what you're going into. Like, you hope it's good, but you just don't. You don't know. You're not sure. And I feel with this, they just. I mean, the third time is the charm. I guess they finally got it right. They gave us a phenomenal movie. Definitely. If you could rate it 1 out of 10, what would your honest rating be?
Oh my god. See, I'm not really good at doing the ratings, but I would honestly, man, I gotta give it like a 9.5 or a 10, just because it was better than what I expected it was gonna be, The only reason I
feel that. I definitely feel that.
Yeah. And the thing is, the only reason I'll say 9.5 is because I don't think there is ever going to be a perfect comic book adaptation, but this thing, it came very close. Obviously, there were plays off the Old Man Logan storyline. Things were tweaked, obviously, for the movie franchise. There was plays off of the past X-Men movies, obviously there was some stuff that was linked in there. But the thing to consider is, if anybody complains about it saying, well, it's not Old Man Logan, it was never supposed to be Old Man Logan, because Old Man Logan would have been impossible to do because half the characters are owned by different companies,
Yes, indeed.
So we went into this...
Yes, indeed.
We went into this movie, and, I mean, first of all, I'm going to tell everybody right now, just like we told everybody with Deadpool, this is not a movie for your children. This is not, I don't care if they've seen every X-Men movie, they got a freaking Wolverine, pajamas, and everything. I'm telling you, this ain't a movie for kids. And, it's made pretty evident pretty much as soon as the movie starts.
Yeah, first, 3 minutes, literally?
Yeah, exactly. So, we knew this movie was going to be Hugh Jackman's last performance as Wolverine. The guy's been playing Wolverine since the year 2000. So, if I'm not mistaken, that's got to be the longest that a single actor has portrayed the same character, at least in a comic book or superhero franchise. Do you know anybody else that has done that?
It is. Nope, it is. They touched on that online. They were saying that he has the record now for that's 17 years, and that's a long time.
Yeah. And that's
a very long time.
Oh my God, yeah, and you know, to his credit too, Sir Patrick Stewart as well. Obviously, we got we got James McAvoy playing him in the First Class adaptations, but this was a really good performance by Patrick Stewart too, who, you know, he was in the trailer, and obviously we knew he was going to be a main character in the story, but that's actually what kind of blew me away is his performances, and for a superhero movie or a comic book movie, whatever you want to call it, this movie kind of hits you in all the right places. Not to sound gross, but it's like, it's got the action, it's got the violence, it's got a little bit of comedy, and it gets you emotionally too. I don't think they could have done a better X-Men movie than what they did here with Logan, personally.
Yeah, it defied, it broke the barriers of, you know, a typical comic book movie. You know, I mean, this is nothing against Marvel at all, because I'm a big Marvel fan. They do their job. They do everything they're supposed to in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But this totally, the thing about what made this work is that it was gritty. You know, it was raw. It was just straight Wolverine like he should be, just period, point blank.
Exactly.
And you know, I think we talked about it. Where if Deadpool didn't exist, we wouldn't have gotten this, period, point blank.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have went that direction. But I think because Deadpool was such a success, with it being rated R, that they was like, you know what? Why don't we? You know, they've been asking for it. You know, let's go and give it to them.
Exactly. And then touching on the whole rated R thing, Deadpool showed that, yes, we can make a rated R movie that's a superhero movie, and it could be good. Logan, you know, it proved that we can make a rated R movie that's a comic book movie and it not be depressing like Batman vs Superman, like when they had the Ultimate cut that came out and it's like, oh, it's rated R now, and they threw a little bit of blood in there, a couple F-bombs, but it was still the same depressing movie that just wasn't fun, that you really can't get invested in. Logan...
See, I still haven't seen the extended cut because, and I have a close friend, a real cool friend, who actually loved the movie, and then he told me, he was like, look, you know, watch the extended one. It should clear up a lot of those plot holes you got an issue with and stuff. But I just haven't had the desire to sit there because it stunk to me, you know, and I don't know if because we were so overly hyped for it, but who is it? It's Batman and Superman in the same doggone movie, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this for years to come. You know, if there's anything you shouldn't mess up, that was one of them, period, point blank.
Exactly. And I'm right there with you with some of these. Like, I bought the extended cut of Suicide Squad, but it's still in the wrapper on my shelf. You know, it's one of those. I'll get to it.
Oh, we gotta watch that, and we gotta talk about it then, because I've been wanting to see that, and I heard that it helps. I mean, Suicide Squad was better than Batman vs Superman, of course.
Oh, I think so.
But there were definitely, I felt that the scene that Joker was in there, he shouldn't have been in there, because it's like it looks like they just copied and pasted, like they just put him in these specific areas, and it's like, okay, what else? You know, like per the trailer, for example, it made it seem like you really didn't know who the villain was, but you assumed it was Joker. Mm-hmm. You know, you assumed he was the main guy, and I mean, what, he was in the movie maybe a quarter?
Yeah, and I think that's actually what Jared Leto got pissed off about, you know? I mean,
right, and you find out that he had more scenes and they cut him out. It's like, okay, can I see those? Because maybe that'll make me feel just a tad bit better.
Exactly. That's DC for you, you know? It is what it is, you know? I don't know. I mean, I'm still going to go see Wonder Woman, and I'm still going to go see Justice League, you know?
I think Wonder Woman is going to change it. I really think that's going to...
You think it's going to be good?
It looks like it's a totally different movie in general. So mean, if you're a true hardcore geek slash comic book slash superhero type fan, you know, you'll see it just for that aspect.
Exactly.
So, DC or Marvel aside, you know, so I'm just looking forward to, hopefully it's a good movie and that can pump people up like, you know what, maybe Justice League will be better than what we think. And because, of course, we're going to have this Batman, Superman shadow on our shoulders.
Yeah. But, man, I'll tell you what, man, with Logan, like, I was telling my wife, man, I'm like, I think I'm going to go see it again. Like, I will pay another $10.50 or whatever, and I will go see it again. It was that good.
Yeah, I was telling my dude after the next day that, you know, I was telling him how good it was, and I was like, look, if you want to see it, I'll roll.
Yeah.
You know, we can meet halfway after work or something because I am down. You know, we did the same thing with Guardians versus the Galaxy. Guardians versus the Galaxy.
That would be a sweet movie. Yeah. That would be good.
Guardians of the Galaxy, people. I was telling him how phenomenal it was, and he was like, really? I didn't, you know, I just wasn't sure. So we went on the afternoon before poker one day, and he was just in the movie like, Joe, I am blown away. I'm like, yeah, this is one of Marvel's, like, for people who had no idea who Guardians of the Galaxy was, because I was one of them.
Yeah.
You know, I just knew I needed to see it because, A, it's part of the cinematic universe. It's all going to tie in. And then, B, the trailers look hilarious. Just from the first teaser trailer, you know, it's like, I have to see this. Definitely.
Exactly, yeah. And then, you know, they got the new one coming out, too. So, you know, it was definitely the dark horse in the Marvel universe, you know, as far as their movies go. Not one that I was really familiar with, but yeah, definitely something that I was happy with. And that's just, you know, the Marvel franchise, maybe it's just the characters are more intriguing, but you know, I'm more inclined to see a Marvel movie than I'm gonna, you know, see anything else. Again, you know, definitely want to go see Logan again. I think my wife and I are gonna go Sunday and check that out. And we were talking about, I was gonna try to see King Kong this weekend. Maybe I'll do a double feature. Who knows? You know. We'll see what happens, but definitely got to see Logan one more time. So, are you ready to get into the nitty gritty? Ready to get into the spoilers?
If we feel that it is time to delve into that, then sure, we can do that.
All right. Well, guys, we are going to get in the spoilers. We are hitting the spoiler alert right now. There we go. You heard the bell, and y'all got to get out right now if you don't want to hear it. So let's get into Logan, okay? So the thing that really is throwing the thing is throwing people off a little bit, and this is why I give it a 9.5, is because the only thing about the X-Men franchise is that the timelines are... it's hard for me to kind of figure out what the hell timeline we're on, if it's in the same universe, if it's an alternate universe. I know Logan, obviously, it takes place in 2029. We open up the movie, Logan is sleeping in his car, which we find out it's like a futuristic looking limo, and he's taking a terrible job as a limo driver. And with those guys, they're trying to steal like the hubcaps, and then he almost like he doesn't want to fight them, you know?
Yeah, clear as day. Yeah.
So, you know, he's saying, hey, you know, it's a rental. You know, can you not, you know, just knock it off? You know, they don't want this to end bad for you. And then they kind of get in his face. I think I don't know what they did. They start trying to, you know, kick his ass. And then the one thing that's apparent right from the very beginning is when he does bring his claws out for the first time, the one, I think one of his claws, it's almost like it's struggling to come out. And he kind of looks at his hand.
Yeah, the one closest to his pinky.
Yeah.
It didn't want to, it was
like malfunction.
It was kind of limp.
Yeah. And he looks at his hand like in disbelief for a minute. And, you know, at this point, you know, he's looking run down. Obviously, he's a lot older. But the one thing I noticed about this fight is, yes, it was brutal. Like this opening fight with Logan and we'll just call them the Hubcap gang. Is
Hubcap gang?
Yeah, they were kind of overpowering him. So it wasn't like he's not invincible, and that's why I think I was so brought into this, because we've always known, like, okay, Logan gets shot in the head, okay, just his forehead will, poop the bullet out, and in this case, that's not what happens.
No, not at all. Like, they actually whooped his ass for a minute. They was like, wasn't it like 7 dudes?
Exactly. Yeah, and they were shooting him, and he wasn't healing right away. He noticed that. And they were, even when they were just putting the boots to him, like he was getting whooped, and then he just went into berserker mode, and that's when we realized that this is going to be the Logan movie that we want.
It was not a game.
No, when we see dudes getting their limbs chopped off. I think the one thing I liked is when he basically uppercutted the dude, like, in his jugular, and you see the claws go through his neck, and you can see them in his mouth and them going into, like, his skull. And gritty. And then one thing I think they did as filmmakers, what they did right is about this scene is when he was fighting them and killing them, there was no music. It was all you heard was these guys screaming, you heard the guts, you heard the cutting, all that,
Limbs ripping, it was,
Exactly.
People, they let us know and you can't open a movie better than that, because, with movies, sometimes it take a while for it to build up. You won't get any action to the middle or something. Nope. Marvel's like, you know what? we're gonna let them know how we feel. We're gonna put our balls on the table right now. Yeah. And I kid you not, people. If you're listening, hopefully you're listening. You watched it. If not, and you just want to hear it, oh well, you're listening.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Less than 5 minutes in the movie, they're slicing and dicing head. I mean, just like gritty, and like Mr. Showtime said, he's not in the best. You can tell his health is not there and not fully 100%, because he was limping when he got out of when he woke up and got out, telling him, like, hey, stop.
Yeah, and it's like, at this point, Logan he's just run down. He is in a worse mood than he normally is in. The sad part is that, he's taken up a job, like a legit, like, 9-to-5 job as this limo driver, and they show, like, a montage of him, like, carting people around at weddings, and, these douchebags in the car just being terrible people, all the people that, like, we all probably hate in this world, and I don't want to say hate, but, like, except
the bachelorette party, because
the bride showed her boobs.
Did flash from she showed him, and he smirks, so Wolverine is human, he like, okay, that made my day. I ain't seen movies in years, so.
Exactly. But we find out that, like, he's doing this job to pay for under the table prescription drugs. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's taking, like, painkillers, because his healing power is kind of breaking down. It's not working like it used to. Come to find out that these prescription drugs are actually for Charles Xavier, who he's keeping hidden in this giant water tower thing in the middle of Mexico. The mutant who is staying with him is Caliban, who actually was in X-Men Apocalypse. He was actually played by a different actor. But basically this mutant, he's a tracker. He can smell, he can track mutants. And the one thing he says to Logan, and it kind of is apparent later on, where he says, hey, you're not well, something inside you is it's not right. He's like, I can smell it. Come to find out that it's actually the adamantium is poisoning him. So I didn't see that coming at all.
Nope, not at all. That was a surprise, even though, I mean, per the first trailer of the movie, and it's playing Johnny Cash and stuff, you got a sense that, okay, one, you already know Hugh Jackman, this was the last time he's playing him.
Yes.
Two, they're loosely adapting the Old Man Logan story. And then three, it's kind of like, okay, I got a feeling he's probably going to die in this. Yeah. Just period, point blank.
And we find out, we do find that out. What do you think of Charles in this movie? Like, first of all, when we see Charles, he's like almost like basically drugged out of his mind. He's senile. And we find out that he's having these seizures, but when Professor X has a seizure, it's almost like he's killing people around him. Like I think they labeled, they referred to his brain as like a weapon of mass destruction almost.
It almost looked, if you remember the few times that happened in the movie, it almost looked like when Quicksilver and Apocalypse and Days of Future Past, it almost looks like when time freezes and he is going through the motions with that. Because if we skip more so towards I guess we could say the middle end of the movie, where they're in the hotel room and Logan is trying to help and trying to stop it, it's almost like time is frozen. So, and that it made me think of Quicksilver with that because know how everything freezes because Quicksilver is going so fast and everything.
Mm-hmm. So we find out that like obviously the prescription drugs are for Charles. He's supposed to be like suppressing his seizures. He's saying like, oh, I'm talking to a mutant. He keeps saying like he's talking to her through telekinesis. And at this point, and we find out from the trailer that mutants are a thing of the past. There's no more mutants. We found out there has been no newborn mutants in the last God knows how many years. And apparently all the X-Men are gone. Now, they keep referring to something as the Westchester incident. Westchester, of course, is where the X-Men, the Professor Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters is located. So I'm thinking, in Old Man Logan, Mysterio makes Logan hallucinate and think that he's fighting, all the villains. What's happening is that he actually kills all the X-Men, and that's what sends Logan into exile. So I didn't know if this was the case. It really seemed, and it turned out it was the case that obviously they flipped it, and it was Charles that caused whatever this Westchester incident was. And they said there was like a group of humans that were killed and 7 mutants. So you got to think that it's probably members of the X-Men who were killed, and that's why. Go ahead.
I'm definitely thinking it's they're paying homage to, like you said, the comic book where Wolverine was actually the one who killed everybody, but they flipped it. And I mean, it makes sense because Charles is let's go back to X-Men: The Last Stand. Charles is like a category 5 or something. Is that what it is? Like it's only a few of them, like him, Phoenix,
Magneto,
somebody else. I don't think, and Magneto. Yeah, they're like the most strongest mutants. Period. Point blank. Mm-hmm. So, it's definitely a good take on it because I mean it could happen. It makes sense,
Yeah. So
it's just and just to go into that. That was one of my issues. Of course, regardless of how much we love a movie, it'll never be perfect, of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's always going to be something, regardless of whoever it is, it's always going to be something that somebody's not going to like. And, to me, the pros outweighed the cons in this movie. The big pros was the fact that they utilized the rated R and gave us the action that we deserved. We got the full cut, gore, blood, limbs being ripped off.
We got some boobs.
We got some boobs. Can't forget the boobs. The claws going from the chin up through the skull, just stuff like that. It looks like they had a decent budget with this. Yeah. And but with the cons, like my personal opinion, I didn't like the fact that they didn't delve a little deeper with what happened to the X-Men. Like they kept mentioning it to a certain extent, like hinting at it, but then they didn't give it to us. Now, I did read some stuff where the James Mangold, I think that's his name, the director, he said that he wanted to leave it up to the fans of their theories and stuff like that, which to me is BS. It pisses me off. It's like, no, just tell us. But it's like, he also said he wanted to make sure that this was strictly a Logan movie. They didn't want to take away from Logan. They didn't want to take away from that. They wanted to actually put the focus directly on him, and that's what they did. So I get it. But at the same time, it's like you could have threw some type of hints in there or something,
Yeah, I thought we would
have to go full-fledged.
Yeah. I thought we would have gotten, like, a brief flashback at a certain point. Like, maybe just little snippets.
And that's my thing. Something, like when, like possibly when Xavier, when he had the seizure the second time, they could have did a flashback to that, and they didn't even, it could have been low budget for, a big box office standpoint where they showed, like, certain people falling out or et cetera, and you can see, okay, per that, okay, that's Cyclops, oh, that's Jean Grey, oh, that's Rogue, just different stuff like that.
Yeah. To
at least give you something, because why mention it but not actually go through with it? So that's really the only major con. Like I give it a 9, and that's the reason I give it a 9, just because it didn't go deep into that, or at least somewhat. And then the other minor issue is the fact that I don't know about you, a couple of other people agree with me. There were times, even though the movie was phenomenal, it was times where it slightly dragged. They could have maybe cut maybe like 10 or 15 minutes just overall of the movie. Some of it just might have not been necessary for the story to continue.
Mm-hmm. What did you... Okay, one of my favorite things, in my opinion, who was person who stole the show, was X-23, Laura Kinney.
X-23 was phenomenal. Oh, man, they couldn't have got a better person to play the role.
She was badass from the very beginning. I liked how there was a little bit of like a mystery around her, and I did like the connection with her and Charles, and it really made the death of Charles like really sting a little bit more, because you knew the connection with him and Wolverine, almost like a father figure, that Wolverine never had.
It was. Yep, absolutely.
But like her and Charles had like a connection when Logan would kind of pass it off like he's just a crazy old man now. And you see, like, as the story goes on, okay, well, maybe Charles isn't as crazy as I think he is. And it really makes, it enhances the relationship and the character of X-23. Also makes the death of Charles a little, real sad. That came out of freaking nowhere. Like, I thought it was like a dream sequence when he got stabbed, and it was like out of nowhere.
You know what? It didn't surprise me, and the reason it didn't surprise me is because the unfortunate aspect of the way my brain works. I'm always analyzing things before it happens. So, which you do to a certain extent, I believe, because when they went with the family that they helped on the side of the road and they had dinner and stuff, you already knew when he was like, oh, you can stay tonight. And Xavier like, yeah, and Logan like, nah, son, nah. We gonna go. And, you know, you're like, oh, man, come on, because we knew that it was going to end in a bloodbath. We knew something was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to be good, which is the truth. It's exactly how we figured. Well, it was a little worse. But,
yeah, it was a lot worse.
It was exactly how we figured.
The sad... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say when Charles was, you know, when he woke up and he was talking, because they weren't showing the person, I thought it was, and this is horrible for me being a hardcore geek. What is the villain's name with the metal hand?
Are you about Sabretooth?
No. With the main villain, I guess you can say we want to call him.
Oh, like from the movie
of the Reapers.
Yeah, that was Donald Pierce.
Thank you. So I thought it was him behind him because, you know, they made it dramatic. You know, you can tell, okay, somebody's behind him. It's not Wolverine. It's not him, period, point blank. So it got to be Pierce or something. And then what do you know? It's freaking X-24. Who is that?
Yeah.
It's Wolverine's clone.
And you know what?
I don't know. I didn't know this when I was reading up on that when James Mangold was talking about why he didn't go deeper into it and stuff. I guess they were paying homage to it was in one of the comic books where they created a Wolverine clone and they called him Albert.
Yes, that was.
So,
you know, it's supposed to be like, I think Albert was like a robot or something like that. But
yes, correct.
But the thing about Charles' death, and it's right when it happens, where he says, "Tonight was, you know, one of the, you know, the best nights, you know, that I've ever had, you know." And then when he immediately is stricken with guilt, when he says, well, "But I don't deserve it," and I think that's where he realizes that he caused the Westchester incident, you know, and it's sad that that happens. And then he dies right there, and it's like that's one of those things where they get you, you know. That's where it starts tugging on the heartstrings a little bit, you know. Because
you know what, I don't know if I'm the only person who's gonna say this, but his death honestly didn't affect me like that.
It didn't.
You know why? Because it's the third time he died.
Okay, I got you.
To be perfectly honest with you, looking at the trailer, looking at his condition, I immediately figured, we're losing Xavier at least.
Oh, yeah. But I think it was just the way it happened, though. Like, not being stabbed, but like because Professor X was always like that voice of reason. He was always like the, you know, the Rock. He was he was what held everybody down. And to see him in a weakened, not even like physically weakened state, but like emotionally vulnerable like that, that's not how
Absolutely.
That's the part that made me sad. You know, he starts crying.
Now that I get.
Yeah.
That I can get, because it was a sad scene. I wasn't over here like, oh, you a bitch or nothing. But
yeah,
it was a sad scene. It sucked the way it happened. You can see Logan telling, you know, as he was carrying him out, like, it wasn't me. I'm hoping Xavier will realize, like, you know, that you gray now, Logan. That's
yeah.
Unless he used some Just for Men before that scene.
Got himself some Under Armour while he was on that farm, yeah. But yeah,
for real. So I don't. I honestly feel that his death in the last stand was worse from the aspect of we didn't expect that at all.
No.
I don't know about you.
Not at all.
When that happened, and like Jean had him, aka Phoenix, had him in the air. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Logan seen him die all three times too. That's the key. That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
Because remember, he opened he barely was able to open that door, and Xavier looked at him, and I think he was like Logan, or he said something, and then he just disintegrated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, if I'm gonna die, we all gonna die one day. I would die that way, because there's no way you could tell me he felt that, because
So we just said MDB disintegrated. Yeah, I guess that's going to be the easiest the way to go. Speaking of villains, what about the Reavers? What did you think about Donald Pierce and the his Robo MMA guys that he had with him?
That would be another thing as to why it get higher than a 9. Who are we kidding? Higher than a 9? You know, that's a great thing to say you at least got a 9. But the villains, I didn't fear them. You know what I mean? And technically, if we look at the movie overall, they weren't really menacing like that. I mean, they had their parts and stuff, but for the most part, like, Blue Ring was whooping their butts, like, period, point blank. So, I just, I mean, they were cool and stuff. I looked at a couple of comics, and I seen how they look in the comics, and they actually did a good job putting them on the big screen. But just overall, I mean, there's a couple of different directions I guess they could have went with villains and whatnot. And I mean, it worked. It definitely worked. But you know, they could have went a couple of other directions.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't mind them. I think that we always knew that they were more of like the hired muscle, and then we come to find out that it was the one doctor who was doing the transgen or trans. Am I saying it right? Transgen procedures on the kids, basically manufacturing their own mutants. So that's Dr. Xander Rice. Come to find out that what he's been doing is the reason that there are no mutants is that they had put a serum in all water, like drinking water, all foods and whatnot. So it was either killing off mutants or was causing the mutant gene to die off. I don't know if you noticed, like, there was when Logan and the one guy, I believe his name is Will, when they were staying with the family and they were going to fix like the water line, he did mention like, yeah, you know, this big company took over all the water pumps and the crops of corn and all that, and so that's like your corn syrup and all that. So that's you find out later that that's why there are no mutants, because instead of, you know, getting sentinels and stuff to fight, you know, the mutants and whatnot, he just stopped the ability for new mutants to be born, so he can basically have a monopoly on, you know, manufacturing his own mutants, but to do them as soldiers. That's where Laura X-23 came from. We see it in a video that all the good amount of the kids were freed, and they were going to this place called Eden, which was the coordinates were hidden in an X-Men comic. I do like the inclusion of X-Men comics in an X-Men movie. I think that was kind of cool and kind of like a nice little nod, you know.
Right, the fact that it's real, but it's not real because they're created from and everything. This isn't a joke. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and a cool thing about those comics is those were actually created specifically for the movie. They brought in actual X-Men artists to do the artwork, and so basically it was, you know, the X-Men have gained, you know, people know the mutants are around, and you know, they've seen, you know, things with the X-Men. So, you know, in this universe, somebody has created these stories and glorified and maybe obviously stretched, you know, the truth of, you know, what they've done. And that's where, you know, Logan kind of calls it out, like, hey, you know what, never happened like this. And, you know, it's almost like he's bitter at the fact that the X-Men are looked at as heroes, you know?
Right. I agree with that one, definitely.
As far as villains go, though, I would love to have seen at least a cameo from Sabretooth, with it being a Logan movie.
You would. I read something on that same thing where I was reading about James Mango, where a couple of people were arguing at the fact that they felt that should have been the person instead of X-24, Wolverine's clone, much younger clone. They should have did that, and they could have even used who was the guy who played Sabretooth in Origins, because he actually
Liv Schreiber.
One of the only good. Thank you. He's actually one of the only good things in the movie. I thought he played a phenomenal Sabretooth.
Mm-hmm. I would have loved. Here's what I would have loved to have been the case right here. I would have played the movie out exactly how it happens. I would have done the thing where Logan and Laura eventually reach the outlook post of all the other mutant children, right? And they're making the break for the Canadian border. I would have done exactly, Logan taking the serum, kicking ass one last time. I would have still had X-24, unfortunately, impale him and actually be the cause of his death. I would have had Laura still kill X-24. I would have played it out exactly how it is. Okay? And they do the burial. They do exactly what we saw. But here's the thing. Before they made their escape to cross the border, Richter, the young kid, basically, I guess you can call him like the leader of these new group of mutants, was on the radio with somebody saying, hey, we're crossing at this time tomorrow. How cool would it have been if, like, the person on the other end they were communicating with would have been, like, Sabretooth, Like,
that, or even, think about it, we're talking about Canada, it could have even been Alpha Flight.
It could have been
I'm
Alpha
not sure
Flight.
If they would dig that deep. That would be amazing, because a lot of people, Alpha Flight is, I would say, a very underrated comic book series.
It's like the Canadian Avengers.
Right, that's exactly what it is, and I just happen to have a few of them, and they're not in order, like 3 or 4, and I happen to read them, and I'm like, man, these are some sweet superheroes, so I think if they had the right writers, that's where it starts, of course, and then the right directors, they could come out with a really sweet Alpha Flight movie. Of course, everything don't need to be rated R at all. It's a reason Logan is rated R. Yeah. It probably would have worked PG-13 to a certain extent, but we wouldn't have got the, it was so many F-bombs, and they were so perfectly placed. Like, I felt like that's how Hugh Jackman is in real life, and that's how Patrick Stewart is in real life. Like, the chemistry between them. Granted, they've been acting together since 2000. Well, let's say 99. When they were filming the first X-Men, and it just felt natural. And if they were to do like an Alpha Flight, it would have to be PG-13. For some specific, scary elements. Like talisman and stuff like that. But I think they could pull it off, and like. Now, I would say they could pull it off now more so than like early 2000s or earlier than that. Just because, the companies, they're starting to, I guess you could say, take more chances on, franchises. And look, Guardians of the Galaxy worked. It's about that first trailer. It's about the marketing, and it falls into the actual story that goes out.
Yeah, it's definitely a place where they can go with that. But to the movie's point, I think they ended it the way it should have ended. His death, I did like it was kind of like a touching moment where, you know, obviously we learn in the movie that Laura, or X-23, is technically Logan's daughter, and whether it's, you know, rejected at first, you know, she does have a connection to him, and then at the very end she does call him daddy as he's dying. And then there was something that Charles said earlier in the movie where he's like, you know what, this is what life's really like, you should stop and try to enjoy it once. And that's where Logan, I think the last thing he says is like, oh, this is what it feels like. And then he goes to her and he says, don't become what they made you to be, you know, or something like that. And that was it, you know?
Absolutely. That is absolutely. I am trying to find something because I don't know if you've ever looked at, like, okay, you can Google Logan Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'll give you Easter eggs throughout the movie and stuff you might have noticed, stuff you didn't, and you're like, oh, you know what, that makes sense. But one of the best parts of these sites is when fans like us comment, you know, in the comment section and give their 2 cents. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm probably not going to find it, of course, because I am looking for it now, but I found something where somebody gave they gave their rendition of how it should have ended, and it by far was one of the dopest things I've ever heard of.
What's that?
Completely. As we're talking, I'm searching for it now because, you know, these guys, they got to hear it, because this is like too epic not to explain over, you know. So yeah, keep talking. Yeah, I'm gonna find this.
Oh no, that's fine. What was I getting at here? I obviously we had the ending with the coolest ending, and it's another tearjerker where there is like a makeshift cross over Logan's grave. As the children are walking away, Laura does walk back and turns the cross on its side to take the form of an X over his grave. And I think it's like a nice little nod saying, hey, like a goodbye, not only to Logan and to Professor X, but to Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. It's kind of like a farewell to the last original actors from our X-Men franchise, you know?
I agree. I think that nod was I think that's what did it. I mean, I didn't cry. I mean, I'm a man. I'll tell you if I did. But, I didn't cry, you know, but just the fact that she did that, it was almost like, you know, respect.
Exactly.
I don't know if you noticed the one black kid had a Wolverine figure in his hand.
Yes, I did see that. So that was.
They definitely paying homage to him, definitely.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I think that it was a great way to end it. I want to see what happens to these kids. I want to see who they're communicating with on the other side. I think that this could lead into tie-in with, you know, I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it because it's in the future. And the next movies we're going to be getting is with the First Class cast, which is in the past. You know, it's going to take place in the 80s or 90s. So
it's supposed to be 90s because Apocalypse was in the 80s.
Yes.
And if they're still going in the same direction, Bryan Singer confirmed that this is in the 90s. Yeah. So I'm really curious to see what happens, how this works, you know, stuff like that. Because, I mean, Apocalypse, it was cool. It didn't blow me away. Like, I actually didn't even go to the theater. I did it, you know, at home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? This was cool, you know. I mean, Apocalypse, I liked the acting. I'm still, you know how I am. I'm a big person on, I want to see them look as close to the comics as they should.
Yeah,
and after the movie, I found they released renderings of early frames of how he was going to look.
Yeah.
And it was dead smack just like the cartoon. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And he looked like even Ooze from the doggone Power Rangers.
That's true. Yeah, that was probably one of my... It wasn't one of my favorites, but it was definitely entertaining. I mean, it's going to see all the X-Men movies. So, yeah, I mean, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. You give it a 9. Let me ask you this, and I think this might be the key to maybe tie these universes together. What do you think of the Deadpool trailer, Deadpool 2, the little teaser?
The trailer was amazing. I watched it twice, if we include the theater, and then I watched it during lunch earlier this week. And while it's the same trailer, it's like two little minor things that they changed.
Yeah, they extended it a little bit.
Right, that, and then the music was different when he took his headphones out.
Mm-hmm.
His earbuds out. That was different. And then they had the Stan Lee cameo.
Yes.
It was epic. Like, it was straight Deadpool. It just, the fact that, and I'm sure you felt the same way, the fact that you thought it was the Logan movie starting.
Yeah, oh my god, that was funny as shit.
I mean, that's what you think. You're like, okay, you know what's going on, and then you hear, just call me Angel, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding.
I know, right?
And so I'm sitting here, and of course, you still think it's Logan, so I'm like, is this the movie? And then once he started running towards the phone booth, and you see Logan on the movie theater thing, he's running past. And the fact that they played a Superman theme, which I don't know if they can get sued for or not. But
you know what? If they do, then that'll get them nothing but attention. Because it's Deadpool. Deadpool just doesn't give a shit. So you do it like that.
Absolutely.
The thing I like the most, and I think this is where it's maybe a little bit of a hint, but on the phone booth, it said Nathan Summers coming soon. Nathan Summers, obviously the son of Scott Summers, who is Cable. Okay? Cable is a time traveler.
Yep.
I mean, time travel, that's how you link these two universes up.
That's absolutely. I noticed that immediately. Like, that was the first thing. I'm like, even though, I mean, he said it in the end credits, that, Cable's going to be the next one. And I mean, everybody, if you have internet, you that's confirmed.
Oh, yeah.
Domino, that's another person. But just to see it, like, hey, he's here. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's apparently we don't have that long to wait for it. Apparently they're shooting for a March or April release of next year.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I think they can totally do that. Did you hear some of the rumors who they're trying to cast as Cable?
You know what? I heard a couple. Refresh my memory. I still picture Kevin Nash as him because he looked the part completely.
Yeah. I see Kevin Nash. They had the one guy, I can't remember his name. He's the bad guy in Avatar. The one that was most recent that really makes the most sense to me is what is his name? The guy who played the sheriff in Stranger Things. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes, that was the one I seen too. That I'll definitely agree with.
David Harbour, that's his name. I think that he's not like a huge, like, super big name, and his performance, like in Stranger Things, works. I mean, you just look at the dude, and he looks like Cable.
He does. He definitely does, and I think I'm fine with them getting. I mean, I don't want to call him a no name, but for it's a lot of people out there who don't know what Stranger Things is, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
they should.
You did a good job. I agree. Hey, if you're listening, if you're still listening to us banter on, check out Stranger Things. The season 2 comes out Halloween season.
Yeah, I can't wait.
You got plenty of time to binge watch that. A couple of things. You binge watch that. You got Iron Fist starting next Friday. I can't even watch Iron Fist yet, man. I still haven't watched Luke Cage. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm in the middle. I think I'm going to do some binge watching this weekend. They try to catch up for next week. But I guess David Harbour was actually in Suicide Squad. He had a teeny tiny role. Some guy named Dexter Tolliver. I don't know who that was, but he was in Suicide Squad. So he's no stranger to comic book films.
Now I'm gonna have to,
and he was in Green Hornet.
Check that out.
Yeah, he was in a lot of movies. He was in Quantum of Solace. He was in Green Hornet. He was in End of Watch. He was in Snitch. Yeah, this guy was in a lot of stuff. A lot of, he was in Equalizer, Black Mass. Yeah, I think this guy would be... Just the look at him, I think he would be the perfect Cable. I would take him... I just want to see the interactions between Cable and Deadpool. Because, you see, how they're the polar opposites, but they're always paired together in the comic books.
Right.
And then also this could lead...
I think it'll be good.
How badass would it be to... put you put freaking Cable, Deadpool, and then you get X-23, maybe a little older, and maybe someone else, and you have a new version of the X-Force.
That would definitely be sweet. Especially seeing, did you hear the rumor? And I'm sure we might have talked about it already, that Ryan Reynolds is going to be one of the writers for the X-Force movie.
Yeah, I did say that, or I didn't say that. I did see that. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. That, especially, of course, Deadpool 2 is going to do good. I want to see, the thing what made Deadpool work is that it had a low budget and it still worked, even though, it does have its flaws. If you sit there and watch it multiple times, you see little minor things, like technically the freeway scene is the big, that's the big thing of the movie.
Yes.
So, and with the budget being so low, I think that had a big thing with the joke about him forgetting his guns multiple times because of the budget. And, I think while I think they should keep the budget low, I feel they should up it just a tad just to add that extra in it. It's like, look, you blew your numbers out of the water. I'm sure the company, Fox had no idea it would do that much. Of course we did, because it's Deadpool, and it's like, hey, if it's Deadpool, we'll go see it multiple times.
Yeah.
So I think if they go on, and I think it was only like a $78, $79 million budget, I say just bump it up to 100. And that extra money, you can have more action and all the other kits and caboodles that goes along with it.
Got it. Yeah, man, I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. So, that and freaking Logan was good. We got a lot to look forward to. We got some kick-ass movies coming up this year. Bro, we got Comic-Con coming to town. We got a lot going on. We got a lot to look forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on with this new X-Men movie, with the Phoenix Saga coming up. So X-Men movies are going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming as long as they're making money.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I am out of things to talk about. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I finally found a page in regards to how Logan should have ended, and It actually terminated my iPad. Up there it goes. I'm going to tell you right now. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Because this guy, it was perfect. Like, you're probably going to wet the bed. Hold up. 1 second. Anybody's listening? 1 freaking second. A little more comments. There we go. Where is it at? Where did it go? It's right here. What are you doing? You know that? Yes, I'm still trying to find it. I'm getting mad. Where did it go? Okay, I'm mad because it's here, but I can't find it.
It's all right.
Like this website sucks.
It's fine. We can always put a link on the website, so that works. We'll be all right.
Okay, I failed you. Sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, no, you're totally fine. Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm pumped. If anybody's gonna be checking out King Kong, or I just call it King Kong, Kong Skull Island this Friday. It's gonna be coming out. I might check that out and see if we get some Godzilla teasers in there. I'm really hoping that's what we get, because I'm down for Godzilla and King Kong. I think you said it's confirmed for 2020. And shit, man, I don't know. It's late. and I'm tired, and I'm an old man. You have anything you want to plug? Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
I think we're good. I think they're all Loganed out. You've been with us this whole ride. I appreciate it. We both appreciate it. I hope that means that you've seen Logan. If you haven't, yes, we did spoilers. But we really didn't go through 100% of the movie, so still check it out. It's phenomenal. Again, Mr. Showtime's going to go see it again this weekend.
Yes.
I'm going to go see it sometime, hopefully next week. And, see how it feels the second time around, knowing what's going on. I'm going to start calling Xavier and Logan Grumpy Old Man. You know what? The title shouldn't have been Logan. It should have been Grumpy Old Man 3. Because,
all right.
Because the chemistry between the two of them, like, for example, when Logan gave him medicine, gave X-23 to give Xavier the medicine, and then he said, swallow it, and then he said, show me, and he said, ah.
Yeah, that was funny. That's that humor that they kept in.
Right, so just those little things definitely kept it from being, because it is a depressing movie. It's sad. It really is. Just to see him in that state and everything, but they was able to just go, you had happy times, and you had sad times, and you had funny times, and then you had blood, and then you have boobies, like you said, so.
Yes. Yeah, we got it all. We really did get it all for this movie.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm satisfied.
Good. All right, myself included. Guys, remember, always check us out right here at hardcoregeekcast.com. We are going to be on Twitter at HCGeekcast. All of our past episodes are on iTunes and pretty much anywhere else. If you listen to us on Spreaker, great. If you go to Podcast Republic, if you go to anywhere else to find your podcast, just type in the words Hardcore Geek and we're there. Check us out on Facebook. We tend to put some cool links on there. And yeah, we will see you guys next Wednesday. And we're going to be talking same geeky stuff, same geeky place, same geeky time. And we will love you long time.
Holla.
Later, kids. Have a good night.